Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Time once again. It is 6 p.m. on a Thursday night. Time for some Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. Holy crap, Oli. I cannot believe it. We have with us tonight the one, the only Mexican Iron Man.
Ole!
Ole!
Woo!
Oh!
A rare appearance.
Hold on, where's the sombrero?
You see flying through that window. He's the pride of Mexico. No lady can resist the magic
Looking good.
of his kiss, the woo of his tongue.
I look Mexican.
Very.
No man can resist
Untouched.
the might of his
On your
fist
genitals.
when he starts
My
getting
genitalia.
drunk.
You want me to go camera on down
That's
there?
right.
Whoa.
Here he comes.
You got a camera down there?
1, 2,
put one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh.
Mexican Iron Man. He's made
He's made from aluminum cans. All right.
After dark.
Welcome, Mikey. We're so glad to have you here. It's a rare treat. Whoops. I didn't mean to remove him. I meant to just make him smaller. But you're not feeling the hottest, so we're glad that you actually were able to show up.
I'm feeling sick and I'm in a bed. I'm sitting in bed all day and I have doubled down on Sudafed and I am like wired from daytime Dayquil and Sudafed. I took a double dose, so I'm kind of wired.
Excellent. We also have with us 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. How you doing, Nick? Is one of those flavors Robitussin?
My flavors are that's protected information. We'll just say that. Protected information. Maybe
Fair
one
enough.
day I'll let you in, Tom. Maybe one day I'll let you all the way in on what is the flavor.
Oh my.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Obviously, we got some news to talk about. Hello, chat. Hello to our excellent wrenches. And yeah, it's cool to see the Mexican Iron Man on the panel. The not just America's greatest, but the world's greatest YouTuber in the history of ever.
No. Price said I had to come back and do the show because you guys don't have any diversity or
No, we don't.
or
No.
ESG.
Even my half Puerto Ricanness is very irrelevant on this show.
If I felt better, I was going to put a dress on because people are calling me. By the way, there's a nasty thing going around the internet that I don't appreciate, and I'm being called a trans tuber. And supposedly I'm in transition from going from being a non-YouTuber to a YouTuber, and somehow I'm in transition between being a non-YouTuber and a tube. Anyway, whatever.
Wow.
It's a lot of tubing. A lot of tubing. Anyway, we also have with us Clobbering Times. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. Hey there, my friends. Honored to be here with the greatest YouTuber of them all, Mexican Iron Man, and all of you wonderful friends on the panel and friends in the chat. So thanks for having me.
Keep saying it, he's going to leave.
No, I won't leave.
We also have, well, and speaking of being the whitest one on YouTube, we thank you for being here, Claudia, by the way. We also have a Canadian on the panel. That's how non-diverse we are. It's all white people. We're so white, we even have a Canadian.
I'm orange.
You are
a white
orange, that's true.
Canadian. We're just a bunch of old white dudes. That's why we need the trans Mexican DEI representation of the great YouTuber Mexican Iron Man.
Am I wrong that you're not really white? You're camouflage?
I'm a former ginger.
I mean, up north, you could just blend in with the background up there. I mean, it's just
well, yeah,
it looks like snow.
It's kind of part of the whole Canadian thing. We live in igloos. We have polar bears as
That's
pets.
how you've survived for so long.
If you get any dark colors up here, it stands out, you know, and then can't really hide anymore.
No, not from the lions and tigers and shit.
No.
Bears.
No. But thank you for being here, CC. We're glad to have you because I don't know shit about Borderlands. So I'm glad you're here for more than just being here as a friend. We also have Price of Reason here. How you doing? You're muted, buddy, because you're.
Oh yeah, well,
yeah.
It's good that you mentioned that. I'm doing good. I'm doing good, and actually, in a way, I'm very orange, so I'm also diverse.
That's true. We don't really know what color Price is. This is fair.
Ooh, yeah.
He could be orange.
I may have just made the assumption that Price is an old white
He
man.
may be a brother and we don't know it yet. Like he could be coming down to his kneecaps and we'd be just like, we think he's white.
Well, you can see in my avatar that I have orange skin. That's a special category.
Right. That's fantastic skin. Price of Reason.
The best skin ever.
Orange skin. Best skin ever. Go subscribe to Price of Reason.
It's like you're naturally suntanned. Share out the link. Let everybody know we're live. Hit the like button because we're live. And yeah, it's Midnight's Edge After Dark. We got Infinite Wander back in the chat here. It's been a while. I know we saw you yesterday morning on the morning show. Glad to see you back, even though you've been busy working. From what I remember you saying yesterday, Infinite Wander sends in 20. Actually says in 25, but we'll get to that because he sent it 21st and says, my complaints. The BL actors are way too old for their tunes. Well, he's talking about Borderlands. Black actor is too short and whiny for who's supposed to be a stoic veteran soldier, and the blonde girl is too bratty. She's supposed to be a manic and psychotic. Okay. So he's talking about the actual characters from the game compared to what we got in the trailer, which we're about to talk about here in just a moment. Infinite Wander sends in 5 again, as I pointed out, and thank you so very much. So simply put, either this movie has the wrong cast and crew, or it's just meant for the actual fan. It's just not meant for the actual fans of the game. Probably both. Jeremy Whitfield has also been a member for 8 months. So thank you for that, Jeremy. We appreciate that. And I love your icon there. And with that, let's not waste any time, guys, because I don't know how many Borderlands fans we have on the panel, but I've never played it because you know why? It's not on the... That's why. But I heard the company, I was told by somebody in the background that this company has screwed over Sega in the past that owns Borderlands, but I don't know how much the company has to do with the actual film that we're getting, but yeah, let's has everybody seen this trailer yet or
negative?
Okay.
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but I don't know shit about Borderlands.
All right, let's play it anyway, just because if I have to cut it out, I'll cut it out. So if you're watching this and all on replay and you're like, where did the trailer go all of a sudden? That's why, because there's a song in here by the ELO.
Oh.
You get it past this intro thing. Because, you know, they have to have an intro for the trailer now for some dumb reason. Oh, I know why. Because they put it on the beginning of ads, and that way they have the first 5 seconds, so you can see that much, or 15 seconds, whatever.
Would you look at that? A ladder! Unfortunately, my design doesn't facilitate this type of...
Well, destiny awaits.
Legend has it that there's this massive treasure hidden in some secret vault. And if you go hunting for it, you'd better take any help you can get. Because it's on the weirdest, most dangerous dumpster fire of a world in the universe. God, I hate this planet.
What is that smell?
I'm trying to get it on the thing where it says Spider-Man, but now keep
I
in mind
saw
this is,
that.
I believe, Avi Arad. If I'm
I
not
was gonna ask
mistaken,
if that's Avi Arad because that
yes,
sounds like something he would definitely like to take.
that would be
for.
my guess. Is it's Avi Arad, and we just lost CC, but he's
That
back.
would figure.
Welcome back. Yeah. So here we go. Get back to it. I just wanted to.
Isn't Avi Arad a guy that like the movies get made in spite of him?
Used to be, but not
No,
like-
he likes to. Well, he just. How do I put him?
I've heard people. I've never really thought I've heard people really compliment that guy. I don't know. I always feel like people like
He's
mention
kind of a
his name.
moron, I guess, in a sense.
He's
I don't know.
total
They kind
imbecile.
of mention his name and then grumble.
He wants to make movies. That part is true, but as far as like what Klobby just said, he's not the brightest. And
I see.
he's the guy who shoved Venom into Spider-Man 3, for instance. Like he insisted. So yeah,
He's been around a long time. He's had his name on everything Marvel forever.
yeah. In
yeah,
fact,
I
I
always-
think he's involved in some other thing that's coming up here too. I can't remember.
I always see his name on stuff. The
Trying to
thing, the
think.
thing is, and then I'll stop talking. But I think that Venom and Spider-Man 3, if they didn't try to also focus on Sandman and
Zelda,
on,
that's what I was trying to think
Harry,
of. Sorry.
there were just too many villains in that movie. You know, there was a way to make a movie with Venom. That just wasn't the right movie to
Should
do
have
it.
just been Sandman.
Yeah.
And also take out the retcon of Uncle Ben's origin. And also
Yes.
don't make Peter be snotty towards
dance.
Mary Jane. And with
Right,
that
and-
dance, that took 2 weeks to film. What a waste of time and money.
Yeah, and her singing in that jazz club that was also weird.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it was. And then they did the whole My Chemical Romance yellow card emo Peter thing. I was just like, oh, that's not the thing I need associated with symbiotes. Even though like I don't have the same attachment as other fans, but I can't imagine having a genre of music you don't like affiliated with a thing that you do like. Those are two things that should have never gone together: symbiote and emo. Ugh.
I mean, I didn't, there's worse movies that I've seen in my life than Spider-Man 3, especially in more recent years.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it certainly was a huge dip in quality compared to the first two in that series.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Tom?
No, I'm here. Sorry about that, guys.
What is that smell?
Piss wash color.
Ew!
Put the window up.
I don't want to! Roll the window up!
Roll it up. It's Pete. It's Pete. Why do you think it's called piss wash? How did it get the name?
It's in my mouth!
Do you know how many people have died looking for this vault?
We have something they don't, baby girl.
Okay. What?
Major issues. Time to make it rain with your body parts.
What did I tell you?
Minimal
No
explosions.
I said no explosions.
Step aside, bitches!
Ooh, mine's bigger.
Put on door. I needed a gun. So you asked for it.
There's only one of you in the world. You're special.
Uh-oh. Kill them all.
What was the point of the bullets that they did that?
What's happening right now?
I'm
What's
expelling
the
the
point of
excess
this?
lead. I
Ah!
can't go if you're looking at me.
Okay.
Actually, scrap that.
This
What?
is just basically Mad Max meets Guardian.
Are we really waiting for this to finish?
That's a perfect description.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to call it Guardians of the Suicide Squad, but yeah, that works. Don't
I would-
text Borderlands. Okay, so that's how you get those endless alerts. Like I
Yeah.
signed up for stupidity for John Wick once, and now I get them endlessly.
Mad Max Guardians of the Suicide
But to be fair,
Squad.
this is more Mad Max Thunderdome and not Mad Max
The Road
Warrior.
Warrior. Yeah, no, you're right, Price.
Although I don't want to shit on the Thunderdome either. Look, I mean, okay.
I actually like Thunderdome.
I want stop anybody here who is not familiar with the game. I want you to go first, like me. My first reaction to the trailer is this is something I'd probably watch, but not like right away. But it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm in the mood for something new, something quirky. And you know, I've seen Guardians a million times, Suicide Squad a couple times. I want something different. Then I'd try it. Otherwise, I don't see anything in this that I haven't seen a million times before. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, but other than that, okay, Jack Black, yeah. Other than that, I don't really care. I don't care for Kevin Hart or anything like that. So there's nothing propelling me to see this movie. On the surface, that's all I see is a ripoff of those. So anybody else here besides me who has never played this game or any awareness whatsoever of it?
I've never played the game, and I tend to agree with what you said. It's a kind of movie that it doesn't look like it's the end of the world. It's probably, okay. But at the same time, it's not one of those that I'm thinking to myself, I got to reserve tickets now. You know what I mean? It seems like almost like something that I'd watch on streaming. If it was a Netflix movie, I'd probably watch it.
That's what it feels like to me, actually.
Right. It does feel that way. And Thunderdome, Thunderdome starts off good, but once you have those little kids,
agreed.
The movie kind of derails there with those little kids, those little twerps.
I agree with that.
I can see it at the time, but I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, it's not a terrible movie, but
I was
just
very
feel
disappointed in that movie when I saw it there. Yeah.
I just feel like it's a tale of two movies in one movie. It starts off interesting. I like the cage. I like his fighting. I like Master Blaster, whatever. But once he runs into those children, I kind of feel like kind of went off a surprising cliff suddenly. But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, I've never seen.
Played
the game either. I see this, and but you and Nick and probably have nailed it. It looks like very, very familiar ground of recent times, and it was only a matter of time for. They've already actually gone and kind of tried to recapture some of his Guardians vibes with his version of the self-delete squad or whatever. But this just looks like that Eli Roth is considered to be sort of an edgy filmmaker, and he's doing his Guardians take. And it doesn't mean it's terrible. I mean, Hollywood is always. I would rather things. I'm actually at the point now where I'm kinder to things like this that are highly derivative than remake after remake after remake. This is at least more of a a rip, if you will. I'm not trying to down it, but it's not something I would be particularly interested in watching or go out of my way to see. But because it does have that familiarity with something I'm just sort of mildly like the Guardians films. So yeah, I don't have much to say about it. But again, I've never played the game.
All right. Like anybody else? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, somebody else. Somebody else can say something.
I think everybody else has played the game. Mikey's a bit of a gamer.
I haven't played the game.
Oh, you haven't? So Nick,
no, I've never played the game. I have no idea what's going on, and none of these actors and this trailer doesn't make me want to go see it. And I'm going to skip this one because it looks like it's going to suck. But what do I know?
Quite a bit, actually. If we're going to be fair here.
I mean, what do I know? I was a Snyder bot for
You're the only one of us on the panel who went to any real prestigious school.
Okay, well, yeah, Stanford and Oxford. So yeah, Smarty Pants. Yeah, well, and Mr. Smarty Pants here is excited that this Sunday he gets to see Dune in IMAX.
I'm going to, but I got to see it in nosebleeds unless I can find somebody in a wheelchair.
I'm going to see it.
Curious how hard it would be to rent a wheelchair.
So that's what you mentioned that on my local screening on Sunday night. You know how I always when we talk about me going to the movies, I always talk about who's going and how much. Dude, the damn thing's near sold out.
It is. I know, and I'm so pissed because I'm like,
I got the
people keep buying seats next to me too. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
I said I got the last 2 aisle seats. I don't even know who I'm taking with me because I mean, a typical girlfriend. I don't want to be like, "What's going on?" So I'm like debating either like just going by myself or I got to find a nerd girl that wants to go with me. Quick.
Well, I'm just
Any
sitting here
nerd girls
thinking.
in the chat? If you are available in Hilton Head this Sunday, come to Mexican Iron Man's house.
Yes.
I'm just sitting there going like that because I'm looking and only like one of the handicap spots have been sold that I know of. So I'm kind of like trying to figure it out. But yeah. Anyway, that being said,
go buy it. Walk with a limp.
I'm going by myself.
Well, I am too, but like, yeah. So
no, because Mexican Ironsman's like, I have to have a date for this engagement. It's like, where are you going to a date for Dune 2?
Dude, I think you're right? Like I think any date will just be a train wreck because she'll be like, who's he? What? And then what if she hasn't?
You got to find an uber nerd girl.
Yeah, she hasn't seen part one yet. Yeah.
It has to be a very specific woman. You know, maybe some women watch the first one because of like Tom, what he says about Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe somebody watched that first one. But honestly, Dune 2 isn't such an easy date night, especially if you're just like, hey, let's, you know, it's like a first date. You're taking her to an advanced screening of Dune 2,
right?
Unless
you can find the right chick, exactly. Like, I mean, I know maybe a couple. I mean, not just talking about in our sphere, but there are plenty in our sphere. Like, I'm sure there's a half a dozen in the chat that would be like, well, I'd like to go to see too. But yeah, but on the Timothée Chalamet front as well. But Nick, you said you never played it as well, played the game as well. So what do you think of the trailer?
Honestly, this does not look intriguing one bit, and I've never played the game. It's not of a lack of interest. It's just I just have not had time to game much, and that's unfortunate because I am genuinely interested in trying to be a gamer, but that's just not part of my life anytime soon. That all said, the trailer did not get me excited one bit. I don't even think it looks like crap. It just I watch it, I'm just absolutely not interested. Even if it did reek of Mad Max, of the Guardians, Suicide Squad, whatever combination. It feels like they didn't get people who got understood Borderlands writers to write this. They said, hey, do you understand franchises? Okay, look at these franchises and make it around that because that's what's recognizable. And that's what they did. And then boom, out came a movie called Borderlands that will have some semblance of what fans of the games might know. Outside of that, that'll be it at best, is my guess. Yeah, not interested. I'm gonna have to be really lured in hard by someone I know to even consider seeing this because this does not interest me.
All right, now the one person I know who has played the game and is a big fan of it, or I don't know about a fan, I guess.
I mean, I'm bigger fans of some other franchises, but I play a lot
right.
of video
But
games.
you're the only one on the panel who has any real semblance of knowing anything about this, and you're the one who pointed out to me that things being ratioed right now. So give us the breakdown of how the gamers are viewing this.
It's another property that should be a license to print money, and you get a little bit of a sense of that in the trailer. It's not that everything is completely awful, but as you mentioned, it's getting ratioed. And all of you who haven't played it said that it kind of looks like, well, plain hamburger, was what I was saying in the back earlier. It's the same kind of generated schlock we've seen for a while now, right? And I think there's a couple of things that stuck out to me that I've read and I've observed myself. First of all, it's not that I don't like Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis. I even like Jack Black in the right places, right? In the right roles. And well, it's just, you know, when you create a property when you create a movie under an existing property, you should probably you need to play by the rules of that existing property or create something completely different, right? That wherein you can create your own rules. And the casting here is just not. I mean, okay, Kevin Hart is playing Roland. Roland is a dark-skinned character, but he's not right for the role. The characters are not right for the role. It's a little bit mixed up. It's not really following what fans would expect. And then you have personally, I'll say, you know what? I'll even forgive that to a point if it's a really creative and well-written movie that you know, if it's done at a high enough level, I'm still interested. But And that's where the other major issue comes in. It's like we got Eli Roth, the creative genius behind movies such as Cabin Fever, Aftershock, Hostel,
Hostile.
and I mean, he hasn't really done anything good before, and I don't think this is the moment that genius is going to strike him. The trailer, I mean, whether or not you've played the games, whether or not you're into the franchise, if you watch the trailer, it is some pretty low level stuff here. It's not that I'm not mildly amused by a robot crapping out bolts, but it's like, is that the trailer does not give me any sense that there's actual gravity behind the situation. Okay, they're going to the vault. I get that. But what are the stakes? What is their reason for going? There's nothing, there's no setup for the villain in the trailer. I don't need the trailer to spoil the whole thing, but there's nothing here that's convincing me that there's a brilliant script behind this movie. And then if the casting's off, it's kind of like, okay, it's wanna be Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who it's gonna sell.
CC.
It's a shame because
were any of these characters race swap? Because none of these characters look like they were actually characters from the game. As someone who's never played the game, I don't get this looks like the natural characters from the game.
I think it's more that they don't resemble the characters. Like I said, Roland is a black man.
Okay,
that's correct.
Okay. Well,
but he's not Kevin Hart.
I'm glad okay. So I'm glad I'm wrong about some of it. That's good.
Look, the game is definitely, the series is definitely, it's humor, right? And it is lighthearted, but it's also, frankly, it's not quite as G-rated as this trailer is at times.
Okay.
It's like Roland's the costumes are off.
So instead of a Kevin Hart, do you see more of like a Denzel Washington? I'm just trying to figure out what kind of guy, or like a
Malcolm X,
or hey,
so somebody just a little bit bigger,
Muhammad Ali,
a little more stoicism maybe than Roland.
Muhammad Ali in the day.
He's not stoic at all. Muhammad Ali back in the day, he was talented as a boxer, but he was not stoic. He was
people keep saying Idris Elba.
Sonny Liston.
Idris Elba would be better.
Yeah, he probably would have been good.
He would be drastically better.
And I've also seen Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, come up. I mean, the point is the character's supposed to be closer to Arnold Schwarzenegger than he is Kevin Hart. Now, that doesn't mean that I would cast Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously, but like he's not a diminutive character, he's much more imposing.
I feel like I have Hollywood fatigue watching this trailer, and I can't really explain why. From the music till seeing these actors, it has a real been there, done that feeling. And I can't even really put it exactly in words why I feel that way. I almost feel like if it was actors that I've never seen before and a trailer that seemed to take itself to do something else, maybe it would have interested me more. One of the things I liked about One Piece is that I never saw any of those actors anywhere. And I thought it was cool that suddenly I'm seeing people that I don't know. It didn't feel as Hollywood. This one feels very Hollywood. And it feels like somebody said, let's make Eli Roth the next James Gunn. And I don't know. That's just my opinion.
It looks to me like it was literally made by AI. It's so much the McDonald's. It's not even a McDonald's cheeseburger. It's a McDonald's hamburger. It was just the step-by-step process of the modern summer movie
burger that's been sitting there all day.
I'm not saying this is going to be the worst movie of the year, but it's just it could be so much better than a step-by-step process of what a machine AI is going to tell you is, the construction of a modern summer movie made by Eli Roth.
Do you think some of this may have been done by like a Chat GPT AI type of thing? Because everything about this trailer is not the good formulaic, but it just everything about this feels like, wow, there's nothing in here that really stands out.
There's a couple of short shots in the trailer I like. I don't think it's devoid. Obviously, somebody put effort into some of these sets, right? It's just, I mean,
Yeah, in
I
the set,
guess.
but I've seen the sets look way better in other movies and stand out in more movies. That's once again, obviously coming from the Mad Max background. Like they just added a bright colors to Mad Max's world with this.
but but it's not. It doesn't have any of the like impact of Road Warrior, and it's not Aliens.
This one makes Thunderdome look like Road Warrior.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
I actually understand reference. I say as a fan of Thunderdome.
Wow,
jeez.
I mean, I don't even mind the colorfulness. It's just what is the trailer trying to tell me about the movie? Even it's I don't. What is the purpose of the movie other than some lowbrow jokes?
The color palette looks like a Guardians movie is my issue.
Like,
it looks like they straight up took the same filter and the tonality of Guardians and just pasted it onto here. I don't mind color either. I mean, I'm someone who likes to talk about older comics from older age when they were filled with color. I love movies that are filled with it. This doesn't click with me as far as colorful. I'm fine with color. I mean, God, I love the Mario movie from last year. That was as colorful as it gets.
Hi, Script.
Hey,
Script. We're all
no. I'm just listening to you guys. You're making all valid points why Eli Roth rarely gets work.
Yeah. The chat's pointing out that the game is colorful, so that's not necessarily wrong, right?
But the saturation is terrible in this, though. That's the problem.
You need talent behind it, right?
I have a serious question for you, Cece.
Yeah.
Are there any hot women in this game? Because the trailer doesn't suggest that there would be.
Well, I mean, it depends on whether you find Jamie Lee Curtis and.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like Jamie Lee Curtis, in her. I don't know if I should complete the sentence, but back in the day, I would say that Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well.
Listen,
really
she aged well,
but...
and I don't dislike her as an actress, but I'm saying like when you're thinking of an actress maybe in her like 30 years old that is now super hot. I don't see something like that in this movie. I wonder if the game has it and they decided to just not put it in the movie, or they just the game doesn't have it, which is why they didn't even attempt to put, because that always helps selling. I mean, even in Guardians of the Galaxy, I liked seeing Zoe Saldana.
Right.
Like I thought that was cool.
One of the comments I liked in the trailer was that the movie took so long to make that the character of Lilith has aged 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the point of that is they're older than they should be. That's why I say it's like, I think Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis have aged quite nicely, so I don't necessarily mind that.
No, they're fine.
They're not prime ladies, and they could be.
They're perfectly fine. I'm also, it's not that I'm 20 years old and like I only date supermodels. I'm just saying that when I go to a movie, I want to see, especially if it's an escapist thing like this or something that's kind of whatever this is supposed to be. I wouldn't mind it if there was a woman that kind of is right now super hot.
The short answer is yes, and they probably should do it, but they didn't.
But in the game, was there a woman like this or no?
Yes.
Who was the character?
The shortest answer is yes.
Who was the character out of these that was that in the game?
I mean, Lilith is hot. I mean, the game is cartoony, right? So it's not a live action game.
I understand. I'm asking a simple question. Out of the characters we see in this well looking at us, which one was supposed to be the super hot one from the game?
The redhead or the one with the bunny ears?
Yeah, well, Look,
The redhead?
I'll vote Lilith, okay? But
I don't know who that is.
Redhead?
if you like redheads, yeah.
Yeah, the redhead, yeah.
At least they put like at least they got a red. They tried to make Kate Blanchett
Sort of
redhead.
Again,
here.
she's a great actress, and I'm not saying like it's not like she looks bad or anything like that. But I'm just saying if the game had this kind of fun vibe with kind of appealing, younger lady, sometimes you gotta kind of stay true to the source material.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
How about we
I
get
don't-
really
I don't-
close to some news source material and we all go to a strip club right now? Woohoo!
Okay.
if there's a great script behind this movie, I don't even necessarily care. The Kate Blanchett's still pretty easy on the eyes, but I'm not getting the vibe that it is, right?
Well, it's Eli Roth and an
so,
unknown.
I mean,
So you're
if they
that's so well
if they,
there, man.
if they leaned into exactly. If they leaned into if it was cast well, it would still have a bad script. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I mean, if they were cast correctly and they were more voluptuous, I suppose that would help, right?
I mean, I'm reading now, and it says that Lilith, the character that Kate Blanchett plays in the original game, she was 22 years old. Now, again, I like
so
Kate
that's kind of
Blanchett. I like Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
I think she's great, and it's not that I look at her and I think, oh, like there's something wrong with her. I like her. I agree with you. Her and Jamie Lee Curtis, they've aged well. But if this was supposed to be some cool, playful 22-year-old, interesting, appealing woman, I don't know if she's, she could maybe play somebody that's in the circle of people that's around that character, but I don't know if that was the best character for the best casting for that character.
I mean, we could always like bring up pictures of the characters from in game as well.
Okay, I'm looking now at a picture. Okay, maybe I can share this screen.
But I mean, yeah, it's kind of an odd decision to cast.
Here, let me show you. Let me show you what I mean.
If
If I can, I'm going to share just to show you what I found, and you guys can tell me what you think. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was part of the reason why a lot of people were downvoting it. This is what she looks like in the game.
Yeah, it's a lot of the downvoting has to do.
That's
with
Kate Blanchett's character in the game.
That's Kate Blanchett's character.
Yeah, in the game, she's
You pull up
22 years
Roland,
old.
You'll get the same thing in the man side.
Kate Blanchett in that was that.
In the game, she's 22 years old and looks like this. Now they just figured, why don't we take Kate Blanchett and we'll make her hair red?
That's crazy.
That could be a reason why some people that actually play this game maybe feel a certain way. I also think that if you had a character like this, why not bring somebody who is that age and sort of interesting? I don't know what other word to say.
It seems
Appealing.
to me that people like the modern movies don't want to really lean into the hotness, whether it's man or female.
But this is
Kevin
again,
Hart
at
is
the end,
nowhere.
It may not seem.
Kevin Hart's not a bad-looking guy either, but I mean, he's not Roland from the actual game.
It continues the same thing, the same tradition that we're seeing, that they refuse to put anybody that has any kind of appeal on screen, and then they're surprised why people get annoyed. I think that any movie that you put a few people that are currently very much like very hot, I think that, and it's not exclusive to women. I think that men, women, whoever you put, if they're really hot now and really fit the role, and especially in the game or the source material, they look this way. For these studios to say no, let's bring somebody, either somebody that looks good and make them look bad, like with Sydney Sweeney, or just take people that are miscast in it and try to lower the appeal so there won't be any gazing or whatever it is. I think they continue to lose money by doing this. And it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the people that downvoted it because of that.
It's such
I think that's probably the case.
It's such
I mean,
a flawed
the movie.
conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stacey,
Go
go
for
ahead
it,
and
Nick.
finish. All right.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, the movie's gonna lose a lot of money that it could have had as a result of that. It's just, and furthermore, now you've got a couple of 50s, 60s-year-old women playing action stars. Well, I can suspend my disbelief to a point, but it's like, and not necessarily that 22-year-old girl in the original game is an action star, but it's that whole situation where it's like, 90 pounds girl soaking wet takes down 100 bulky guys because she's powerful. I'm not necessarily getting that vibe from the trailer, but it's like, you know,
I don't
Jamie Lee
believe-
Curtis is totally kicking ass in a dangerous vault on a dangerous planet. Yeah.
I mean, you could have had one of them. You know what? I'll tell you this. You could have chosen either Cate Blanchett or Jamie Lee Curtis. You know what I mean? Choose one out of the two, keep them in the movie. For the 22-year-old woman who's supposed to look, you know, kind of lure in the guys, or even for that Kevin Hart role that was supposed to maybe impress a few ladies. Like you said, Idris Elba for the Kevin Hart role. People in the chat here, somebody was mentioning Jennifer Lawrence as a possibility for the 22-year-old. I mean, she doesn't look 22, but I do think that maybe, you know, as annoying as she is with all her stupid action star things, I do think she has a better, more suitable look for it.
No, that's fair.
There you go. Well, on that note, let's see what the audience is saying. Jay Forever King sends in $1.99, says, Borderlands gives me Tank Girl vibes. Yeah, I can see that. Adam Wolford sends in 10 and says, the problem I have is Tiny Tina and Krieg are from second Borderlands game. Krieg, however you say it, is the one that with masks, and Tina is a little girl that was taken by Roland and Lilith after her parents killed. Well, at least you know what parts of the story they're probably pulling stuff from, I guess. And then Adam also says the planet of Pandora is a vault. A vault is found land rush. Okay. Mr. Buttcrack's been here for 21 months. Thank you so much. Adam Orford also says that Michael Jai White should have been Roland with $2. From what you guys have explained, the character should be like. That sounds about right. Or Michael Jai White, I should say. Combat Killer sends in 2 and says Hollywood are dead. I ignore Hollywood movies, waste of time. Well, that saves you time for other things, I'm sure. Cthulhu says with $5, everything wrong with the trailer is the tone shown with the kid with the RPG. No, wait, everything green screen with bad acting for the script, not the scene. Okay. And then Red Pilled Rant sends in $1.99, says it's an action movie for moms and daughters. Maybe. Adam Wolford says Lilith is a hot girl. Bunny Ear Girl is 10. Yeah, that's why I said the Cate Blanchett character, unless somebody else was.
Oh, the actor who's playing the bunny-eared girl is clearly not 10 years old in this trailer.
Yeah, but she's not that old either. But she's somewhere. It feels like she's
from Modern Family.
How old is she then? Because I thought she was like 12, 13 from what it looked like in the trailer. She might be a little older, I guess. But
oh, she looks. I mean, for the actor in there, you'd probably suspect they cast someone in their early to mid 20s for that role.
You would think, but
yeah,
she comes off pretty young. I mean, I'll give him that. But
oh yeah, I mean, they really
I have no
rounded out
idea.
her face. Yeah,
she looks like a 10, 11, 12-year-old to me. But yeah, I have no idea who the actress even is offhand. I mean, I kind of recognize the name. I guess she's 16 according to Coralie and Rogue. Okay. Oh, she was the girl from Barbie. Okay. She kind of seemed familiar, but I was like, can't put my finger on it. I wasn't sure.
Well,
so 13 during filming, they filmed it that long ago. Jesus.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Maybe they didn't want to release it because they knew it was crappy.
I think that's why there were jokes about how Cate Blanchett was the correct age when they started filming.
No, that would be.
They're like, everybody's putting out a video game movie. Let's let ours go too. Woo wee.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Sorry, I had to deal with something there. We got some news here from. Let's see here. Share screen. Which one are we gonna do first? Let's do the Tom Cruise story since that's the headline. Tom Cruise is set to star in Alejandro G. Inarritu's next film at Warner Brothers and Legendary. So this guy is a guy who directed The Revenant. It doesn't sound like he's directed anything since. Let's see here what they say. The project is being treated as a top secret project with no plot details available at this time. Well, that's a great story, guys. Project fits in with what Cruise and Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Studio Chief Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi have in mind when the movie star signed with the strategic partnership last month with Warner Brothers as something that is both original and meant to be seen on the biggest screens across the world. So there you go. That's about all we really know about this project.
That
Go
sorry.
ahead.
That Alejandro whatever guy, I feel like there was a moment that they kind of made him like a flavor of the, maybe for a few years, that they're like, wow, it's Alejandro, whatever his name is. And sometimes I feel like these things remind me sometimes, I don't want to be mean, but you know how you go to a museum and there's like a white canvas and then there's a bunch of critics standing around saying how great it is. I'm not saying that his work is like a white canvas, but looking at it, I've seen 21 Grams, I've seen Babel, I've seen Birdman. You know what? His movies, in my opinion, I always hear people complimenting them, and then I watch them, and I always think that they're very overrated. I think that people want this guy to be a better filmmaker than he actually is, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we call that the Snyder effect.
You know, he's a little more artsy than Snyder. I'll give him that. I don't feel like it's a situation where he's just kind of winging it in that way. He has his ideas, it's okay, but I do feel like sometimes you have this kind of hype surrounding a person, and then every other person has to agree to the hype, and they all have to say it's the best thing ever, it's the best thing ever. And maybe it's somebody that's just okay, but they make him more than he is. That's what I think about it.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of stuff under his belt, like 21 Grams, Babel, Birdman, Revenant,
movies that were good for that moment. I feel like people sniffing farts at cocktail parties could say that they saw it and they all kind of had a good time together.
Yeah,
but really,
I mean,
how often do you think of those movies? When was the last time you thought of 21 Grams or Babel or any of those? Even the Revenant.
Fair enough. Brett,
you're right.
Man, I brought up before, and Revenant I didn't think was all that great, but yeah.
Well, he's an auteur. That's why.
These are all movies that I've watched and that I thought were fine, or even that I enjoyed, whatever, or even okay. But there's none of them that I thought, oh man, I gotta go back to that rewatch. Unlike, let's just say, I'll use a recent example, Godzilla -1. I'm antsy for the Blu-ray. I'm antsy to know, is there a box set? I want to talk about it again when it's not so big. Hey, look at this cool special feature, yada yada. I don't see any of those movies of his and think about something that I've watched more than once. That's it. I've watched them once.
I'm with you. I've seen 21 Grams once. I might see Godzilla -1 more than once, but yeah.
I think this is Warner Oh, go ahead.
I'll just say quickly, his movies are basically the equivalent of an above average one night stand.
Well, dude hasn't made a movie in almost a decade. See, that's the thing. So at this point, I think what this is all about is Tom and Warner Brothers want an Oscar out of him, I think. I don't think this is the Moon Project. You guys think? I don't know what it would be, but
that'd be crazy.
Or the Space Project, I should say, not the Moon Project. I was thinking of the moon landing that just happened here. That's what.
Oh, right, the probe, right? Well, I mean, he's very much a pretentious type auteur filmmaker, the one and done, the award, harvester. If that's what Tom Cruise is looking for in his partnership with Warner Brothers, that's fine. It probably might be an enjoyable, like, to draw from what Price said, it might be an enjoyable one night stand, so to speak, but not something you'd want to revisit again and again.
And the stream died.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know Klobby don't give a shit about Tom Cruise. Mikey, what do you think? Exactly.
I don't know enough about this director to give a comment. All I know is
never seen The Revenant.
No, all I know
that's
is
the one where Leo got humped by a bear.
Sorry, I missed that.
I hated that movie. That movie sucked. I remember that. Well, all I know is you can never get enough Tom Cruise. So any Tom Cruise has got to be good Tom Cruise, and I can't wait to see him running.
He's not going to win an Oscar. even
Running
if
for
he
what?
does a movie with this guy, the Oscars won't give him the Oscar because they don't like him. So when it comes to voting, even if he gives an Oscar-worthy performance in this guy's movie, they're still not going to give it to him. They barely gave it to Leonardo DiCaprio, because they don't like that he has the young women and all that stuff. But because he said he wanted to save the earth from climate change, and he went around and talked about that enough, I suppose at the end they just said, he took pictures with Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is, said, okay, he was whatever with that bear, we'll give him an Oscar. I mean, they didn't even want to give him one.
Did he get an Oscar for that one? Was that the one he won for?
Yeah,
Revenant,
the
yeah.
bear one.
Yeah,
is
I
the
think
one.
you're right. Yeah, okay.
For the bear humping and eating raw fish, which
That's
is
right.
against what he would do, which is ugh.
Anyway, anybody else got anything to say about this deal?
I feel like this is not gonna go down well, even if we never find out about it as a behind the scenes. I see these two clashing. That's all I see this as, is these two are gonna clash.
Any
Tom
reason?
Cruise, here's why, because as much as I do enjoy Tom Cruise's body of work, and this is a director who has like let's say he has artistic vision, which is fine, but a lot of Tom Cruise's movies, for better and in some cases even worse, they are Tom Cruise's movies. I don't see these two getting along well. Maybe I'm wrong and they become best friends and whatever comes up becomes a hit. And I'm not even denying that the movie would be good or even become a hit. I just feel like heads are going to roll between these two. And maybe I'm wrong and they become best friends. And
He's worked with some auteurs before, and I think in those cases he's actually is when he's given up more control. Like I'm thinking like Magnolia,
Born on the 4th of July.
Born on the 4th of July,
Rain Man.
Rain Man, yeah.
Vanilla Sky. There's another one.
Vanilla Sky is another
yeah,
one. Yeah,
that's good.
So I mean, I think
it's just in the more recent years, he's definitely taken a lot more of a creative role.
And again, he's getting older too.
Letting
So
off the pedal. Yeah, I don't see him letting off the pedal. I get why, because he likes doing that stuff.
Oh, don't think he won't do some stunts. I mean, Leo did all that shit.
I'm not even talking about just.
But that's what I'm saying. Like this
yeah.
This is what I'm getting at. And I see what you're saying, Nick, but I don't agree with it, because I'm looking at it as this is almost like a perfect pairing, and I'm thinking this is a good catch for Warner Brothers, because this Revenant guy, he's gonna go out there and go, Tom, go fucking poke that bear, and you know what Tom Cruise is gonna say? Okay.
Hand me a
exactly.
stick.
So these guys are like a perfect pair, right? Like, I mean, just wait what comes out of this. I mean, it's going to be like some cinematic auteur, but it's going to have some bits in it where Tom Cruise is probably hanging off a cliff or free falling some way, or depending. We don't have no idea what the story is going to be. So I mean,
or shot out of a cannon.
Shot out of a cannon. I mean, it could be endless, right? Like the possibilities are endless. But
I hope you're right, Tom.
The other part of this story is they're whining and dining my favorite director of all time, trying to get him over at Warner Brothers to do his so-called final feature. And I'm sure most people can guess who that is. Yeah, but I want to make sure everybody had a chance to say anything on this Tom Cruise deal before we move on. But yeah, that was the only other part of this story that was big today, because he's going to be shooting The Critic here soon. Maybe a Warner picture.
Well, let's
shooting critics. Do they have any critics?
Yeah, I know, right? I bet you he would love to do that. Oh, actually, I don't think Tarantino's had too many problems with critics.
No, I think he's been I think he stopped even paying attention to them like a good 20 years ago.
I mean, he's had a few that have given him trouble, but yeah. Let's see what you guys are saying out there. Camelbot says, Tom, I want the Three Stooges to head bonk the Hollywood executive.
Yeah. Slightly. Yeah.
Green Raptor sends into it, says Borderlands avoids male gaze. Okay. Avoids male dollars too. Yeah. I mean, Kate Blanchett's okay looking, but I can understand considering the character is supposed to be like, I mean, to me, she's like your Star-Lord. Star-Lord's not that old. I mean, he's like in his mid to late 20s in the first movie. So
that's the other thing. Is like, why not just make him a completely original cast of characters at that point?
There's that too.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of the route that D&D did in a sense. Jeremy Hembry says, and I know that's not a video game, but it's a game. Member for 11 months. Jeremy, thank you so much for supporting us. So Godzilla -1 Blu-ray comes out between July and Christmas, and the 4K doesn't come out until next year. Oh, I didn't even know this.
Wow.
I'd just been
That's a
hearing
ways
rumors they were
away.
shooting for like May, but I'm not surprised. But as far as the 4K thing, that's weird. But yeah, I still haven't even got my hands on Shin Godzilla in 4K because I think you can only get it from Japan in 4K. So, and a lot of those they don't have subtitles and shit on 'em. I wanted to import because they had a couple of the classic films that just came out in 4K, but none of them have subtitles on them. It's like, well, fuck.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh well. But that being said, let's do something also kind of studio related. Culture should be here for this one, but because he's the only one that seems to think the ballerina is going to be some big hit.
Oh, the John Wick spinoff?
Yeah,
it got
ballerina
pushed back a
dances into
year.
summer 2025 by a whole year as The Crow swoops in and takes its spot. Because Lionsgate, I believe, I think they were producing it from the start. Did they produce it or did they just pick it up? Can't remember.
Who, Lionsgate?
I think they actually produced Crow from the start, but I don't remember what its original date was, or it hadn't had a date yet. But now that's taking the ballerina spot, where ballerina's going back for some reshoots. Where now it's under the purview of Chad Stileski. I don't know if he had any say or play in the matter before. It was Len Wiseman who was the director on the ballerina project. But yeah, so that's being moved a whole year. That tells me that they're doing more than just a couple of action scenes.
Yeah, that's extensive reshoots.
Now, some people are thinking, oh, they're just that confident in the movie and they're moving it to next summer for that reason. I don't know.
I don't know. This movie, this screenplay was circulating in 2017. It's taken 7 years to get it to this
Have you read it?
I can't remember if I have. I'm looking right now.
That means it must not be that memorable then if you did. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the title, and I remember it's about a 22-year-old girl who's got a proclivity for killing, and she's recruited in. It's just, I remember just the weird ups. It was trying to kick off the John Wick hype, but oh god, I'm just looking through my archive right now to see if I have it.
Yeah, and this Crow thing, Mr. H got a leak on a full breakdown of the Crow, and this press release actually confirms a lot of what he had told us, and they are altering the story quite a bit. So I do suggest you check out his breakdown of that if you want any
gross
idea on how that's going to turn out. Not that I had any faith in a Crow remake.
Could have been left alone.
Yeah, I got both versions of the ballerina script, one from 2017 and the revision from 2020.
So my guess is the 2020 revision. Well, shit, they might have had a couple since then.
Oh, they probably had a number of revisions since then.
Have the ability to see if they have. Do they have to like register them with the guild or anything? Or
only with certain significant changes. One of the ones I'm looking at right here, it's by Shay Hatton, who did the original one, and it's represented by Lee Stobby Entertainment. And
yeah,
they
all right.
It looks like there was only minor changes between those two, a couple years apart. So who knows how different it's going to be when it hits actual release.
Well, clearly, Chad Stileski's the new. So for some context here, it was we just talked about this like 2-3 weeks ago now, maybe a month at the most. I think it was where we got word down that Chad Stileski was taking over John Wick as well as the Highlander. He's going forward with his Highlander movie, but he's also basically they're greenlighting a franchise.
Yes,
and he's going to be overseeing both of them. So that's my guess is he took one look at this ballerina movie and said, well, this is shit. We need to reshoot it.
You're probably right. Yeah.
That does sound like the probability of what happened. And that's why I believe it's going to be extensive reshoots because he is probably not pleased with what he saw, concerned that he now has to be the overseeing guy. Even if he didn't have original involvement, it's still going to have his name on it because he's the overseeing guy. So his name's still going to be attached to it. In that regard, people are going to affiliate the ballerina with him, even if it's stuck with its 2024 release date. So it's really like, oh, crud. We got some shit we got to do here. And you know what? I hope whatever money that they spent for this, I sure hope it wasn't a shitload because if it was and their reshoots are extensive, it's not going to even matter if this movie is I guess you could say a grossing success unless it's like super duper sky high money because
Oh no,
That's
he was a
the-
producer back in 2020. So
Oh, he was okay.
I just looked it up here now, but yeah, but that means he's got probably more control over it than he did then too.
Yeah, I just hope it wasn't an expensive movie to begin doing, because if it was then, just imagine what's going to amount to now. This is going to be hard for it to be very profitable. Now, if it was a not as expensive movie and they won't have to do as much again the second time, and they have a good chance of being profitable, should it turn out to be good. But right now, this definitely is kind of concerning.
Okay, so for some background, this is the guy that didn't write but directed the first John Wick film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know. Does he have any writing credits at all?
I don't know.
I don't know if he does. Let me look here. Shit, lost it. Anyway, sorry, this is making for bad. Bring up the IMDb and it's being slow. All right, here we go. Let's see here. I don't see any writing credits for him whatsoever. So, yeah. So he's mainly just a director and a stunt guy, looks like.
I mean,
But he's
the best we could
directed
hope
all
for is
the
it's
John
shot
Wick
well.
movies. Is pretty much all he's done to this
Yeah.
point. So there we go.
I mean, they're good looking films, so at least you got that going for it. Kinda.
So it makes me wonder what the reshoots are all about then. They're claiming it's to add more action sequences.
It's a 99-page script. That's pretty close to a 2-hour
And
film.
they
What is
fight.
more action for it.
And
Yeah.
they fight.
Yeah.
And they fight.
And then they fight some more. Well, here's the part here. If you have way more action sequences, you dilute the value of the action sequence in your film, right?
Yeah, that sounds like a cover up to me. Sounds like it might have tested badly. Because as far as I know, this sucker was supposed to be out in June, like I said, so it'd be damn near done. Right? Like they'd be in the midst of post-production, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, on the final stages of it at this point.
Yeah, so it sounds like to me maybe they had a test screening and it didn't go well. That could be as well. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, go ahead. Anybody else want to talk? I didn't even ask everybody's opinion. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'll step back after this, but it's just like if they want to go back to reshoot like a major reshoot, you're literally doing another movie again. Like they're taking the wrong lessons from Disney at this point when it comes to these other studio films or these smaller budgeted ones where if it's not performing well, okay, we'll just go back and spend another $20-30 million to reshoot the thing, as opposed to maybe either, I don't know, just finding a different edit or trying to do cheaper revisions and stuff just to make it passable so you can at least get it out there and mitigate your actual pre-box office expenses.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see what it's going to be going up against too, because it's opening the first week of June. Looks like it doesn't have a whole lot of competition. So it actually has a
star
week.
Of it? Who's the star of it?
The Crow? Oh, it's the one of the Skarsgård kids.
Oh, he's also in that new the movie that with the trailer that just dropped, The Boy Kills World, right? Same guy?
Is that what he is? I'm not sure if that's which one it is or not. Let me see here.
Bill, right? Bill Skarsgård?
Yep, Bill.
Okay.
Danny Houston plays the bad guy. They totally changed the story though, like yeah. Well, not totally, but it's not the same. But yeah, it doesn't have any competition for about a week. It looks like Hitman and Watchers are all that comes out that week. So that's probably why they figured it had a better chance. It's got a week before Bad Boys, which who knows how that one's going to play now. Because I don't even know if Will Smith has another movie between now and then anyway. Anybody else got any comments on this though?
I mean, I'll wait
Going,
and see
going, gone.
with Ballerina. Maybe, I mean, I enjoyed the John Wick films. So maybe Ballerina could be good too.
Are we still connected to the internet?
As far as
I don't know, man. I just took a look at YouTube's interface and it changed like dramatically. I can't even see the title of this stream on the website.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, everything's.
As far as I can tell, we're live.
Today.
Oh no, we're live. It's just like the suggested
Tom
videos are where
Cruise
the
to
comment
reunite.
sections are,
Yeah.
and the comment sections are in the where the chat is all where the suggested videos used to be. It's all
It's a little
weird.
more rearranged, but yeah, I can.
Yeah.
It looks fine on my end for now, anyway.
Mm.
But, all right, yeah. As far as I can tell, we still got an audience. So, yeah. Anybody else on the Crow or Ballerina?
I think they're both going to underperform and be considered sort of failures. Maybe not miserable failures, but I don't think they're going to be smash hits.
I'll take that bet, and I'll join you on it.
There you go. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat then. Nikki D says with $5, any updates on the potential sale, merger, or acquisition of Paramount? What happens to Top Gun 3 if any of the above transactions occur? Well, I'm sure they're going to keep developing it. I'm still curious if it'll even come to fruition. Paramount stock is, I think, at another low today at 11 something it was earlier. They need some help. Next month, Warner Brothers is officially able to go up for sale and or merge. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I've been told by a few people that they have pulled out of talks for the merger over Paramount, but then again, as far as I can tell, legally they couldn't actually do any offering or dealing until this next month anyway.
No, yeah, they're doing the browsing technique. They're just browsing.
Excuse me, I had to sneeze.
No, cause I'm tight.
But anyway, yeah. So people were saying like the main one everybody keeps running to, and this one guy who claims he had the scoop on it to begin with was the same guy who put out the whole Universal thing. Like, I still wonder in what universe, unless AT&T somehow is able to remove themselves from Warner Brothers, and even then, I still find it questionable that the FCC would allow that to go through. And I mean, I know some people go, well, what about Fox and Disney? Well, Disney wasn't owned by Comcast or a company like Comcast, right? Like, that's the difference here.
They weren't owned by a cable provider, and then already the courts are regretting that decision going through, which is why they're exercising more scrutiny now. I wouldn't be surprised if AT&T just buys a majority stake back into Warner Brothers to become the full owners again, like because they're partial owners, like they're minority owners still.
The other thing that, and again, I'm not a financial analyst or anything like that, but maybe Mikey knows a little bit something about this. Culture was talking earlier about the whole fact that also Warner Brothers is in a lot better shape financially than a lot of people are saying it is. So even with like this situation where if they were to buy it, like they could make this argument that it was a company that was losing money or something like that, and they're basically saving the company, but that's not the case. But it could be that case with Warner Brothers and Paramount merging more so. But again, we have no idea what's going on there either, because Sherry Redstone wants a specific deal that it sounds like she's waiting for, and she's not getting it from Byron Allen or Skydance yet at this point. But yeah, I don't know, Mikey, if you know anything about this or
no, sorry, I'm ignorant on this
but,
one. My apologies,
right.
I'm ignorant on this one.
Yeah, as far as all the announcements of things like Top Gun 3 and all that stuff, honestly, that's why I say I'll be curious to see if it even comes to fruition, because I think those were just to bolster Paramount's bottom line to make them like look like they're up for sale, because that's the same thing what I think is happening. I even said this a couple of weeks or a month ago, a couple months back. I don't remember if it was on here, Mr. H's stream, or the morning show, maybe a couple of those places where I flat out said, I think that they announced half the reason they announced James Gunn's taking over the DC universe, and they got Superman going, and they've got all these other movies and stuff that they've announced in the pipeline is because they're trying to pull the George Lucas deal. And what I mean by that is they're trying to make Warner Brothers worth more than it really is by looking like they have all this shit going for it. Because when George came to sell, when they finally decided he was going to sell to Disney, they only gave him an offer of like $3.5 or $3.75 billion, and he wanted the Pixar deal. And so they went. So Bob said, "Well, you got to get some stuff going, and you need a CEO and all that kind of stuff or whatever." So he went and hired Kathleen Kennedy, signed on Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher to 3 films, and Harrison Ford to a movie and a possible Indiana Jones movie and all that shit, and got that shit rolling. And that, in the eyes of Disney's people, got the worth up to $4 billion. And then George is like, "Well, 4.05." And the reason why he wanted the 0.405, as far as I know, according to Clint Howard, was because he wanted it to pay off the taxes on it. So,
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how that deal went down. And I think that's what Warner Brothers and Paramount are up to right now. Like, the only one of the new movies that I think is going to happen as far as James Gunn so far is going to be the Superman movie. And
Yeah,
until,
that's
Such a dumb move for them to go as far as all these announcements, all this giant casting, and we have yet to have one movie out. And they should just announce it as the one movie and not announce anything.
well,
further.
and that's the beauty of it, though, right, Nick? Is if it succeeds, whoever buys the company, they already have a DC that's ready to roll. If it doesn't succeed, we're starting over because we bought the company and we want to try something different. And a lot of people save face that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other part too is that there's also the high likelihood that even if they do buy Warner Brothers, they'll axe it anyways, because again, new management likes to kill stuff that's in development. One of the things that they do this for, and I've been getting more updates on this recently because I'm in negotiations right now, is that the reason why studios have been making a lot of these long-term announcement deals is part of their international territorial pre-sale distribution. They can actually run up a higher cost for what they sell these as packages for business quarters in the future, and it allows them to essentially have more collateral when it comes to their borrowing power for these productions, and also gets them closer to what's called the 0 point start when they hit theaters, which means that as much money as they've sold that they've done for the pre-distribution sales, it's paying off the movie before it actually hits theaters, so that everything they collect from the box office is technically pure profit. But the way the accounting works is that it goes against the budget without acknowledging the fact that they've already pre-sold it internationally to like 50 to 100 different companies for a few million a pop. And it's to cover the reason that they've changed the model recently. I just learned this week, is because marketing has become so expensive. They actually have to start announcing more stuff ahead of schedule so that they can beef up their package so that it can pay for the growing marketing expenses for distribution internationally. So it's all basically just trying to make them have less of a potential loss in theaters than what they would have under the previous model. I would imagine, which would be pre-pandemic. It's a whole slew of weird movie math that's going on right now, and I'm trying to make heads and tails of it as one of the projects I'm working on is being entertained as part of that sale.
Sounds like a convoluted way of the way that guys like Canon and New Line and stuff used to make movies, by pre-selling things all over the world. And then you're basically locked into having to make this movie at that point.
Well,
that's why they got in trouble.
Well, it's why Canon got in trouble. New Line did it properly because they knew what they were going to make. Like Bob Evans did the same formula that the studios were doing at the time, but it was far more limited. Now what's going on is that theoretically what they'll do is they'll say, okay, Q1 of 2025, we know we're going to have these two tentpole films. We're going to make them untitled, but they'll be in the area of the genre that we're doing for. So they'll be like, we've got two Marvel movies in Q1, Disney will say, that we're going to have at the beginning of Q1 and the end of Q1. And they will package that with a bunch of smaller stuff, and they will use the recent box office success of the previous year to basically prime up the price. So instead of it normally being like a $2 or $3 million pre-sale per country, they could get 5 or 7. And that's what they do to try and make it up. And that's why post-Avengers, way back in 2012, when Kevin Feige started doing those announcements of their longer phase slates, that's what they were doing. They're basically saying, we are going to have these 6 movies, and this is going to be part of our phase 4. And then when they went on the distribution market, they're like, you're getting 4 Marvel movies over these course of the years. This is our pre-sale terms. They were getting 10 to 15 million bucks per country for that, which means they were basically starting every single movie into the box office, like not just in the black, but already at a surplus of profit, which is why when you see some of those budgets are in like the 150 to 200 and 220 million dollars, they're spending pre-sale money as opposed to it actually dipping into the lines of credit that they did. And it's all getting nuts, and it's even going further than that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sony did the same thing after Spider-Man No Way Home. And they said, even though we distributed that and it's a Disney film, we're going to sell internationally Madam Web for maybe $10 million to say every country in Europe, which would be like around 50. And then we're going to package that in addition with the untitled Ghostbusters sequel, because Ghostbusters came out earlier that same year of Spider-Man No Way Home, and did well critically. And they probably ended up getting way more than they would ever need to spend on those films. And if Tom Rothman's the type of penny pincher,
and the Spider-Verse sequel, don't forget that.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely, the Spider-Verse sequel as well. that's the stuff that's going on right now. They're packaging these more. They're selling them internationally to just make sure that those expenses are coming down.
Craven's probably a part of it too. Yeah.
Yep. Craven.
No, and exactly what you're
Venom 3,
explaining
absolutely.
is actually that's exactly how Bob Shea got Lord of the Rings made.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's their model.
he tells the story. The short version is, and I do suggest you guys check out our interview with him because it's one of my proudest moments in Midnight's Edge history. But it basically explains how the company was freaking out because originally the Weinsteins were going to only make 2 movies, and Peter Jackson talked to New Line, and he's like, "Well, it's 3 books; it should be 3 movies," and took over and got the money for 3 movies. Well, how he did that was he pre-sold it in a bunch of different countries.
Mm-hmm.
And the company was freaking out. They're like, "You're going to bankrupt the company. You're going to bankrupt the company. You're spending more money than anybody's ever spent on. Why shoot 3 movies at once? Just shoot 1 and see if that." And he's like, "Doesn't matter. We're not going to lose any money." He's like, "The movie could have flopped, and we were still in the black already.
Yep.
I could have sold the other 2 to cable, and we'd have made a mint even that way." He goes, "But luckily, of course, we all know what happened." But he's like, even if disaster would have hit, he was already basically pre-set up that all 3 of those movies were paid for, basically. So
yeah, and he was doing the same thing that Warner Brothers and Paramount were doing more lucratively in the 80s. Like the first Lethal Weapon thing, that was pre-sold internationally before they even rolled film. And barely anybody talks about it. And one of the reasons why I think Warner Brothers really swooped up New Line is because they saw Bob Shea figured out something that was kind of known as an industry secret that
they got him through
decades.
Ted Turner, but yeah,
that he got through Ted Turner, obviously, yes, but it's basically like, oh, he figured that out on his own. He's been doing it for decades anyways, and he's built this really great small studio, New Line. That's why we'll get it. And then they did the dumbest thing by bringing up Tommy Emmerich instead of, Bob Shea.
or actually Mike DeLuca.
Mike DeLuca was kind of pushed aside too, right? So
there's a few of them. There's a few guys there they could have brought in. Any of them but him.
Like
basically any of them but him. Sarah Risher would have been probably one of the better choices, actually. But anyway, and she would have been one of the first female. She would have done a hell of a lot better job than Amy Pascal ever would have done.
Oh, absolutely. But then what we're seeing now in the last 8 years or so is the next level of that. Instead of it's just a single pre-sale of one film with a couple of smaller ones, it's like, no, we're doing multiple tentpole films. We're doing them over a number of years, and we're getting all that money in now. And it's really messed up because I saw parallels to this in TV. Like when I had my short stint at Warner Brothers, Smallville was packaged with Supernatural and a whole bunch of other shows.
Right.
And because they were popular names, they were able to increase their just international value way more than what it actually was in order to keep on paying for those shows. And that's what CW was doing up until
syndication was the same way too. Yeah.
Exactly. It was it's paired with the syndication stuff, right? So you have the deal with syndication, then you have the deal internationally with those networks. And you just kind of just keep on raking in the cash and realizing that, we're making money selling this stuff, but we're not making money domestically broadcasting it. And those deals started to fall apart when streaming took over, which is also another flaw with the streaming model that they use.
Well, that's probably more of that is going to be coming up in the next month or so when we find out what's going to happen with Warner Brothers. So we'll put a pin in that part of this conversation and other things going around. But on the Paramount front, as far as Top Gun goes, like I said, I'm curious if Top Gun 3 will ever even happen. But we do know that the lawsuits keep coming at Top Gun. I still haven't even heard if they settled or what happened with the lawsuit of the guy whose article the original one was based on. But now there's another lawsuit coming in. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th one now. I'm trying to remember that has hit the movie. But Barry Tubbs, an actor from the original film, is suing because they used his image in the sequel without getting his permission. And actually, he might have some grounds here, and this goes back to the whole Back to the Future case and some other things, I'm sure. Because as far as my understanding, Script, help me out here. You may know this better than I. Through the guild rules, you have to get permission.
Yes.
At least permission.
Unless it's stipulated in the contract that they can use your likeness in sequels without your permission. Yes, you have to verify it each time. So if there's like a still or a photo that's used in the background with his image in it, and someone was able to catch it, then he would be entitled to get an appropriate compensation for the use of that image in that film.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what his lawyers, I'm assuming, are thinking Paramount's going to argue, because he signed a contract back in '85 for the first film. Back then, they never planned on making any sequels, obviously. And I think it's a good argument to be made that here we are 30 some plus years later and they finally make a sequel. Doesn't that mean you should probably get the permission of the people? Because what it is I guess there's like 2 or 3 scenes where they show the class of,
I think there's
86
like a
or whatever
cross
Top
picture or
Gun.
something with them,
Yeah,
right?
there's and he's in it along with the rest of the cast. So yeah. So yeah, I think he might have grounds for
Yeah.
this will probably settle. This will settle. They'll give
Oh,
a
they'll
couple.
know the exact dollar amount and they'll cut him a
Yeah.
check. I mean, if they really want to. I mean, at this, I know
Yeah.
Paramount's really strapped for cash right now, but a lawsuit on that point might be just a little bit too expensive. So it might just
It's not going to cost him $1 million.
I just want to make sure everybody understands that Tom Cruise did nothing wrong because he's perfect. Thank you.
Clobby might argue that.
I'm sorry.
Not on this stream, he won't.
Actually, he should have known the rules.
Tom Cruise, what? What did he do?
Exactly.
Never heard of him.
But it's not his job probably on the show.
No.
But, anybody else think that this is unlikely to go anywhere? Or
I think Barry's going to get a good settlement and be very happy.
Yeah, I could see that happening too. And what's the script there? A settlement will happen. And it also, it's an easy way to just call it a day.
I don't think he's going to get the type of settlement that Crispin Glover got for Back to the Future 2.
No.
This is going to be something where they'll give him some money and it'll go away, but it's not going to be a ton of money.
I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars at the most,
right. I mean, if he really squeezes them, if like they just want it to go away, maybe he somehow pulls one on them and he gets like $100,000. If he does that, that's like him. He's popping champagne bottles and it's like the greatest victory ever. I agree with you. I think that it's probably worth a few tens of thousands of dollars at best. If
like
that.
Not getting $1 million.
No, like it's script set, because I mean, just to get your likeness in there, like for permission, it's free, right? But if you just to pay it, I doubt it's any
I don't
much
even
more than
remember
a couple $1,000 maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember seeing his image in it. I mean, I don't even recall noticing him. I'm only looking at pictures because I'm kind of focusing on Goose, on Maverick, and on Val Kilmer, and I really wasn't even paying attention.
He was a guy with the cowboy hat in the first movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Wolfman or
now
whatever.
that you say it, I guess he was there. But if he wouldn't have said anything, I couldn't even remember that he was in Maverick, even in a picture.
Yeah, he's not actually in the film proper. He's just in a picture. That's the whole point.
Barely. This is a guy who probably doesn't have a lot of money now, and you just figured some lawyer told him, "Listen, we'll do a contingency thing. We'll just file the lawsuit. They'll maybe in order for this headache to go away, they'll just cut you some check, and we'll accept what they give us." And I feel like $100,000, they'll take it and be very happy, very very happy. The one with the article is actually a more serious lawsuit, but even that one, I don't know how easy it'll be for them to get. Maybe they'll get a settlement of sorts.
Yeah, I think that's the case. He'll probably just get whatever the normal rate is plus a percentage above that just to make it whole and go away.
I mean, the article, it really matters what the original contract was. If they said that they could do derivative productions, if they would still be making money on it. The original article guy, I don't remember now what his original contract looked like. Maybe Script knows, but
it said right in the thing that it didn't say anything in the script in his contract about sequels that he signed in June of '85.
Yeah,
so
it's basically a cold reset. And I think Tub, someone mentioned in the chat that Tub's been retired. If that's the case, then I haven't seen him in a movie in like at least a decade.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No, I'm talking about the article guy. If the article man had sequels and derivative.
You mean the guy? The guy that I was talking about before.
Yes.
I haven't seen. I have to look and see if there's been any updates. I haven't
heard anything either.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. But
that's a weird one. I feel like they're not. If they get a settlement, I also don't. I think in their case they have something more to say. But it really matters what that original contract from 1985 regarding the material derivative productions and any kind of spin-offs or sequels. If they had a clause that says derivative productions, sequels, and spin-offs, where we got an EP credit and some kind of money, and they just cut them out, then they have a better case. Even then, I don't think any judge or anybody's going to say, okay, all the $1 billion that was made on this movie, 1.4 billion, whatever it is, like it's not like they're going to get all the ticket sales. At best, maybe prior to this thing, Maybe at the end, Paramount cuts them a check. Maybe also Paramount cuts a deal with them and says, listen, we want to pay you like $1 million, $2 million, or $10 million, but we're also signing a document with you that in the future, you can never come bother us again. Meaning moving forward, we can do whatever we want with it. You got nothing. Here's a check, go away. So that's an option. If I were Paramount, that's what I would do. If I was forced to
You mean
settle.
you mean a buyout
now.
clause?
Yeah, I'd say, okay, guys, I understand what you're trying to say. You're a bunch of, annoying jerks. Here's here's a buyout. That's what I would if I was working for Paramount, that's what I would try to get for them too. Like if I had to, if like we couldn't just make them go away based on the agreement, if it was a situation that they had some claim, you do a buyout, you give them something and they go away. And listen, those guys are not a big studio. They're not anything. They're not swimming in hundreds of millions of dollars. I feel like that, you give them $10 million, $20 million. I think they'll take the money and go away. And it's probably worth it for Paramount.
Oh, they wouldn't pay that much at all.
Looking at this, there was an update last November. And a U.S. district judge had advanced the lawsuit, pointing to enough alleged similarities between the original story and Top Gun Maverick to survive dismissal. So as of November, it had gone. So I guess they're still in the course of this. And I think this is actually the second version of the lawsuit that was actually filed. The original version, I think, was either dismissed or something. I can't find the actual thing because that's why it's taking so long. I'd have to go through it a little bit more, but like that's what it sounds like because it's all based on the original California magazine story entitled Top Guns.
Yeah.
So.
And it's the question being is like, number one, did the studio buy the rights out in perpetuity, which is usually standard operating procedure, especially by the time the 80s came around?
Right.
The next part too is that if they do a settlement, it'll be under the pre-2023 WGMBA, which means the most he could probably get would be $1 million. And that's it.
I still say if they have a derivative, if they have a derivative production spin-off clause in there, then I think that they have they can get maybe more than $1 million. If they have something like that in the contract. I just don't know what the original contract from 1985 looked like.
Well, it'd be hard for them to get more than $1 million because you can get more than $1 million now with the new WGMBA. You couldn't at the time the movie was done, and that would have to be the parameters that constrain the settlement. It's basically like, well, we can't give you the deal that you would get if you made it this year, but we can give you the deal that you would get if it was made, the year it came out. That would be how they would do it because you can't get better. If they did it for this year, so many other people who had claims beforehand would just file new lawsuits to be like, well, I only got the deal that was done in 2019, but now I'm able to get more money. I should get that money now, even though I haven't made anything since 2019. That you're getting a slew of those lawsuits. No court's going to allow that. It's going to be of the deal of the parameters at the time when the movie was greenlit, put into production, and released. So,
but if they want to make a third installment, whatever terms of the derivative production clause would say that now he would get significantly more money. So
for the third one, yes, but not for the previous.
So back to the buyout if necessary. Meaning, I still think that if Paramount are shrewd and the guy has any kind of shred of a case, they try to reach some settlement that they also get rid of him permanently. But again, I think we're both speculating in a situation, and I admit I'm speculating because I don't fully know what those documents look like. I feel I looked at it a long time ago, but I don't remember really seeing what his original agreement was. If I did, I would give better input. But I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. And then Sergeant Point Blank sends in $2, says, "Who's Top Guns?" Tee. Well, I'm sure Mikey knows a few Top Guns. Hello.
What?
And then Rico Zorro has been a member for 26 months. Wow, you know how to find the ladies, you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as
Oh,
charged. All right, we got one more story I wanted to touch upon here today.
Let's touch it.
This is kind of a weird, fun one. It's a comic book story. Toxic Avenger is heading to comic. I think he's been in comic books before, right, Clobby?
Yeah. Marvel.
I was gonna say, I'd imagine, yeah. So he's heading back to the comic
cartoon.
books. Yep, of course, the cartoon.
Toxic.
We got the new movie coming out at some point. Whenever I think it gets picked up for distribution, I think they're still looking for a distributor. Wow. But I heard it sucks ass. Yeah, well, it's a PG-13 remake.
Kaufman? It's not Kaufman.
He's like an executive producer or whatever, but it's like a bigger budgeted remake.
Okay. Wow.
Peter Dinklage is the fucking Toxic Avenger.
Oh, what?
There's going to be a lot less
really?
poop in it. I'll just put it
Yeah,
that
there's
way.
not
Even
gonna be
though it's
any
crap,
boobs at
it's
all
gonna be a lot
either.
less poop and boobs.
Oh
No
my
boobs.
goodness. Why is this?
Well, they even bring it up in this article. So anyway, the Toxic Avenger is returning to the world of comics. Matt Bors, sorry, not brothers, the Pulitzer Prize finalist who found, yes, Sadie, just a minute, who founded his daily online political comics publication, The Nib, and the artist caricaturist Fred Harper, I know that name, are collaborating on what will be 5-issue comic book series. Oh, interesting. For Ahoy Comics, the Syracuse-based publisher. So there you go. It's known for putting out Second Coming, a story of Jesus Christ and a Superman-like hero forced to become roommates. The company is eyeing a fall debut for the mini. The comic takes cues from the infamous 84 low-budget cult film made by Lloyd Kaufman, so sounds like it's in the vein of the original. There was even a short-lived Marvel series, as Klobby pointed out, and it was published in the 90s. It's probably more in tandem with the animated series, I'd imagine. The title still has plenty of cultural currency. As Legendary produced, Legendary produced it, but I think they're still looking for a distributor. The remake that stars Peter Dinklage and Jacob Tremblay, which premiered at Fantastic Fest last fall, which means they still haven't found one. So there you go. The series has violent, gross mutations, bursting pustules, high-popping visuals, and trenchant humor, he said in a statement to the Hollywood Reporter. There you go.
Wow.
So Matt Bors is bringing it. Do you know Matt Bors at all? Does that name ring a bell at all, Klobby?
No, he must be new, relatively speaking.
Hopefully he's good, because I'm not familiar with that name neither. I just hope that he's someone who's actually gonna do his homework as far as the Toxic Avenger goes. I mean, nowadays that seems to be like the rule to not do that, but to me that seems like that should be the mandatory thing. But obviously most of these properties outside of like the Conans and Energon universe, if you're tackling a historic IP, it seems like don't know about these things. So I like for me personally more details until I can consider if I want to check this out or not. Sadly, it comes to that point where I can't really get excited about an initial announcement until I know more details.
Yeah, I know nothing about, very little about Ahoy, and these artists, but just again, this is another head scratcher. I'm like, what does this need to be done for? Who's clamoring for this? Not necessarily who needs a comic book of it. That's whatever. But I don't know. I'm not sure what this is for. Especially a remake of a movie. I could even see a comic before that. Yeah. Weird.
Well, we have an image of the Toxic Avenger that is supposedly drawn by the gentleman.
Okay.
Sadie, you can wait a minute. We're out just before the show.
Sadie doesn't like his art.
She's either griping because she wants to go out or she wants dinner, and it's too early for dinner, and she was just out a few minutes ago. Now leave me alone. She gets up underneath my mouse arm. Yeah, you think so?
She doesn't like remakes either.
Nah, I'm with Sadie.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That really doesn't make me think of the Toxic Avenger, but
he's like a political artist. So.
Yeah.
Not like he could still be a political artist. And
I can't say that I've never looked like that after a pool party.
You just gotta be able to be adaptable to doing something like the Toxic Avenger. I mean, you can look at obviously what George Alexopoulos is doing with Razor Fist for Ghost of the Badlands. Obviously he comes from a background of doing short little political stuff, and now he's doing a Western. So as long as you're adaptable, that's fine. I mean, usually
it's got some barbarian paintings and stuff here that look pretty cool.
Oh
yeah, there was one more thing.
He's a good artist.
Yeah.
Looks obviously, but that doesn't look like Toxic Avenger to me.
We got one more piece of news I forgot. This is just a quick thing. We got a new Ghostbusters poster.
Hey.
Patton Oswalt is not in it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's one glaring thing missing, and that's Patton Oswalt.
Good.
But I did notice that this Kamal guy or whatever his name is,
Kumail Nanjiani.
he's looking a little villainous in this part. So maybe
Hope he
he's
does-
like our
Kumail
Janosch in
Nanjiani.
this
Yeah.
movie.
Hope he doesn't get
Movie.
traumatized if the movie gets criticized.
I know, right? He might have to go to therapy. But I
Yeah.
would imagine that since hopefully since he's not on the poster, he's not in the movie much. Or as some people were pointing out when I posted this earlier, maybe they're actually listening to people. They're trying to, because I noticed he wasn't really in the trailer all that much either. So.
I have a feeling Oswald's gonna have a small spot. I'm sure it'll be like a scene that will definitely be an effective scene, whether good or bad. But I think he'll have that small effective part, and then he'll pretty much be out of the movie. It'll probably be some 10, 15-minute part. And if that's the case, I'm not gonna complain about that. I
just don't even understand why he's there, because what he's doing and saying, that's what Ray does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to. I think you suggested this once, Tom, that they're trying to keep him as a backup, like in case anything ever happens and Dan Aykroyd should not be in a Ghostbusters movie. Then they'll have this guy. Maybe he's working as his assistant. I don't know what his role is. I couldn't understand from the trailer what he even does. But maybe they're just keeping him around just as a backup, which he's not a good backup to keep around. I hope that they won't ever do anything with him, but maybe that's the reason they have him.
Yeah. Well, we're a month away from finding out. So
yeah. Well,
but what I will say, and I think I was telling you this before, is that they really put Paul Rudd front and center.
Oh, he's got a good agent.
That's for sure. But,
no, Script knows what I'm talking about, because everybody's placement and size on this poster, this is what they call the pyramid poster.
Right.
And it's usually floating heads or like this, and it's always like, basically, Paul Rudd's got the best deal here. His agent made sure he was front and center, the biggest of the bunch. Bill Murray and Finn Wolfhard's got a good agent too.
Yeah.
Poor Ernie Hudson, he's got a shitty agent, and so does
like Grace McKenna. I would think it would be where the other.
She's almost as equal to Finn Wolfhard there. See, she's pretty close.
That's not the China poster.
Yeah, she's underneath him though, but she's still same size. Dan Aykroyd is a little smaller than Bill Murray. Poor Ernie Hudson's way back there with Annie Potts even smaller below him.
Is this the China poster?
And then this kid,
Podcast, yeah.
Yeah, Podcast is buried in the post. Slimer's bigger than him.
Well, I mean, come on. He doesn't have as many credits as Grace McKenna Grace does.
No.
So
and she's even bigger than Jamal Canu, whatever. I'm sorry.
Well, she's more likable than Kamal
That too.
Oh yeah, I'm actually surprised.
I was that close to his real fucking name. Wow. I was joking.
Is it Kamal Ninjiani? Kamal Ninjiani or something like that?
Yeah, Ninjiani, but I call him non-funny because I've heard his stand-up.
He just sounds funny because he's got a lisp. That's all it is.
Yeah. And he was horrible in History of the World Part 2. I mean, History of the World Part 2 was terrible overall, but he really stood out as really bad.
Oh, he's so brilliant in Eternals, though.
He
had to have therapy for that,
He was only good in Silicon Valley, and Silicon Valley was really only good when T.J. Miller was there.
Well, that's the one Mike Judge made, right? Because people are saying that's really good.
Yeah,
I got to check that out.
He was like
I
fourth
just
or
thought that was
fifth
fun.
fiddle. You know what I'm saying? Like he was fourth, fifth fiddle on that show, and then he made that kind of very politically correct movie that the Oscars seem to embrace. So for a moment, he had kind of his moment, but he is a fourth, fifth fiddle type of character, in my opinion.
Don't traumatize him.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, you're gonna make him have to go to fucking therapy again.
Sorry,
Okay.
I take that back, Kamal. You're not fifth fiddle. You're third fiddle, fourth.
Yes, you were great in Eternals, man. I'm watching every day just for you.
I heard it's used as a sedative in hospitals.
Yeah, it is. Why do you think I need to sleep? I mean, I have sleep problems.
Yeah. But William Shatner's trending, and it's okay, folks. He's still okay. I believe he's trending because he's doing this comic book cover.
Well, the cover, anyway. That's a strange thing.
Yeah, we've talked about it somewhere. I don't remember if it was here though.
A little while ago.
Yeah, but I think that's what it's for.
World's Finest, number 25, coming out March 19th.
Oh, William
Shatner. Let's check out.
Hi there. I'm William
Oh,
Shatner. The Batman Superman, world's finest number 25 cover is coming out. It's terrific. People are excited. So am I. Maybe you will be too.
Yeah.
I might buy a
I drew him
comic
on
for
a
the
cover of a
first time in a
book.
while.
Okay.
I know he's just on the cover, but
Give it on my butt.
it's Bill.
Yeah.
I'm
Man
happy
looks
for
good
Shat.
for someone in
I'm
his
actually
90s.
glad he promoted a comic, even if it's a comic I don't want to read at all. And I'm not saying that as a diss towards Mr. Shatner. He seems like a really
Yeah.
wonderful guy.
It's a Mark Waid comic. So.
Yes, exactly my diss. But I'm happy. I do have, my few friends who still read his stuff, and they do like this comic. So I'm happy for them in that regard. But I will at least give him credit where it's due, because there's so many times there's opportunities to promote something and no one mentions the comic. It's absolutely insane. I think was it I think I was listening to Graham Nolan. Oh no, I was listening to Chuck Dixon on his YouTube video they posted yesterday. How he was at a grocery store. He bought a Batman magazine. It was like a retrospective on like all his like adaptations, live, cartoon, comic, etc. He said out of around 200 pages, less than 10 pages, maybe not even, talked about him being a comic book character and showed off comic book art.
Of course.
And I'm just thinking, what the hell is this? Like, we don't promote the comic books where these characters came from. Like, you could say what you will about Pizza Hut, but when Pizza Hut did their X-Men promo in the 90s, they led with the comics. They even credit a lot of the creatives on the art. They made them front and center when they promoted all their, the hats. Sorry, not the hats, but all the merchandise, the cups and all that stuff for the X-Men. They made all about the comics. When you bought action figures, they came with a comic. Like, that was even when I bought Batman Begins, the original 2005 DVD copy comes with a Batman comic. Like, these should be part of how you promote these things.
Mask of the Phantasm did too.
Yeah, I remember that. I actually do remember that. It's crazy how we just now absolutely ignore the comic at all costs. Even cereals that I bought in like the 90s, 2000s, early 2000s, if there's like a character they're promoting, it would come with like a little comic of some sort. We don't get that. And that's how, I see comics saying comics were saying, yes, that's true. But even though a lot of them are not, that's how you try to get them to sell. They're not promoting them. On top of it, there's 100 reasons why they're not. I'm not going to take us down that well. But I'm just saying it would definitely help if more people did something like what Mr. Shatner did and actually talk about it, put eyes in front of it. That's all.
Yeah, there you go. We shall see. They don't sell a lot of comic books these days. Putting Shatner on the cover will sell one of their 50 variants of that issue. No doubt. And it's Wade. Like I said, I can't stand Wade, but he can write those characters. And I mean, some of those issues, some of the art's usually crappy in that series, so I haven't read it much. But I might get that one. It's just a strange thing. Obviously, I doubt he's involved with anything to do with the interior, but I think that's supposed to be the last issue or something. That's why they do it.
I think so. I don't know. I just, once again, I know it's a story that people are selling, and we do have a lot of Star Trek fans at my shop. So people were talking about it yesterday, and there are actually even people who weren't reading the book. I guess I'll take a William Shatner copy. So it did get people, even people who aren't really reading DC, say, I'll take one. that's to me, it sounds like a short-term sales. But once again, at least William Shatner promoted the comic book, because that should be how it is.
Right.
So would this be one of the rare instances where if you unstaple the cover from the comic and throw away the interior, the comic actually gains in value?
Maybe.
Script.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those where the only ones that are really probably worth anything are the ones that are signed by Shatner.
Then you get rid of the rest of it and have the cover itself slabbed.
Yeah.
Basically. But all right, I guess that's it. I don't want to drag it out any longer, so let's go around the horn here. Script, anything you got coming up you want to plug, or anything you want to plug at all?
Just scripts on Saturdays. This Saturday with CC coming in. to co-host this week. It's going to be fun.
Looking forward to it.
Ooh, nice.
Is it a script that's set in Canada or written by a Canadian, or it's a lot of Canadians on one stream? I don't know.
It's going to be a Canadian overload, but no, it's a script about racing.
It's going to be the most light stream on the internet.
It's a really messy script, but hey, there's definitely a lot to talk about with it.
Or what is
Yeah,
it? What is it?
no, well, I mean, a lot of the scripts are messy, right? That's kind of part of the fun of it.
It is, yes.
I'm looking forward to this one because there is a lot to talk about with it.
All right, Clobby, what you got going on?
Well, a little over an hour, the clubhouse will be in session. Raquel and Mark joining me tonight for Clobby's Clubhouse, and then tomorrow night over at J-Man's reviewing Miller's Daredevil, then over with Nick with his fellas over there, and then Saturday night Star Trek, 9 p.m. Central, of course, as always, and 4 more episodes reviewed of Star Trek Voyager and onward. Thank you for having me, buddy. Appreciate it.
Of course, always a pleasure to have you here. CC, what do you got coming up besides Saturday with script?
Well, tomorrow night's Friday, and that'll be Friday night karaoke at 10 p.m. Pacific, hopefully after Loki's late show at 8 p.m. Pacific.
All right.
You usually find Tom and Price of Reason there as well.
Yep. Price, speaking of, what do you got coming up?
Well, today at 10 p.m., there's that Quantum Leap Revisited thing that we do, watching classic episodes of Quantum Leap. And that's on my live channel, Price of Reason Live. And hopefully Script will be there if he has time, and some other people. And that's kind of nice if you like the original show. Aside from that, I put some pretty good videos recently up on my regular channel if anybody feels like watching them. And that's it.
And Tom went to go take care of Sadie.
Tom was so excited about what I just said.
You're so excited.
He loves Quantum Leap. He loves Quantum Leap. He heard that the original series, we're going to cover it, and he just, so excited that he left the room.
No, Sadie was going to tear something's head off. I don't know, probably an invisible dragon. All right,
I
what
really
you got
impressed
going-
you.
Yeah, what you got going on, Nick? No, I'd love to join you one of these days.
Comic Shop Talk tomorrow night. Clobby will be on there, and a few other of our great gentlemen within the comic book circle. Sunday we'll be doing the shit list as a fill-in with that 70s rock fan, maybe another dude. And then Toxic Tuesday, Bachelor Party. It's gonna be a wild next several days. So it's gonna be
An out-of-print
fun.
Blu-ray.
Oh yeah. And have fun finding on the streams. The internet will be your best friend, is all I got to say to that one. But yeah, it was a fun show to be a part of tonight. If you're one of those people who already watches Clobby's Clubhouse, stay the course and stick to that. Otherwise, come hang out on TNT on Comics Division's channel. Thanks for having me, Tom. Good to hang out with you and all the fellas.
Indeed. And last but definitely not least, the man, the myth, the legend, the rabbit chicken handler, I guess you'd call it.
Wrangler.
Wrangler. Well, you handle them quite well.
Well, depends how lonely I am. Then I might handle them more often than normal. Tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern, join me and the Echo Base Network weekly EBN cast. I've not been on it in a month, but I will be on it tomorrow.
Interesting. All right. Well, so join Mikey there. And yeah, of course, I got the morning show and all that good stuff. So hopefully we'll see y'all there. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And oh, thank you, Jay, for being here as always.
Is he though?
Exactly.
Good night, everybody.
Night, guys.